Yes guys, welcome back to the Goalkeeper Reviews for You channel, and today we have a brand new glove review with the One Glove Geo 3.0 AM2s. One Glove were the first company to reach out to the GKR4U channel on a comment on the previous Mega unboxing saying these gloves are best suited for wet conditions, and as it's been tipping it down in the south of England, I thought it would be a perfect opportunity to try them out in their optimal conditions. Yes guys, let's get into the ratings and the in-depth review of these One Glove Geo 3.0 AM2s. So first we're going to start with the scam score. We're going to start off with design. For design I gave it a 6. I like the colour and I like the One Glove logo going across the back of the palm, but for a usability design I'm going to put them on just to show you what I don't like. So first off, I feel like there's too much fabric around the wrist, which means when your arm goes back it all folds up and it becomes quite irritating. And also on the front latex there's lots of extra latex on the palm, so look, as you can see, due to there being no embossed lines or any a bit weak spots, it just creases across the middle, which is what you don't want. Alright, so now we're on to the next topic, which is construction. I've given these gloves a 7. I think they're really well made. The stitching on the palms is very good. There's no offcuts on the outside or the interior and the fingers. But my only problem I have with One Glove are these little triangle bits. Just from my past history with them, they always start to flick off and come off after a couple games of use, which I don't like. So that's why I've taken it down from those high scores to a 7. So to give you a little bit of comparison, I've done an in-depth review of the Adidas Predator URG 1.0s on my channel in the past, and my only dislike with these gloves was how wide the fingers are. So now we're on to palm, backhand and fingers, and I love the One Glove finger width and height. It suits my fingers perfectly, but however I think there is too much fabric or too much latex on the palm, giving you creasing.
And they approached me and said, look, basically, would you be interested in trying some of my gloves out? So I was like, yeah, fine. And then obviously tried them out and I really liked them. And I said, if you can do them exactly the same as my Adidas ones.
Because they are very similar to look at.
They're pretty much exactly the same.
They are
the only thing they don't have is the latex coming over the finger here.
Yep, the old fingertip style.
Yeah, so I said if you can pretty much match them, I'm happy to come on board. And obviously they said I could design my own glove, have it exactly how I wanted it. So I ended up making the switch to them. They're great people to work for as well. They're all really nice guys, and yeah, I ended up making the move 2 seasons ago, I think it was now.
Which doesn't happen with this because of the embossed palm. And now let's compare the backhands. So the backhand's important when the ball's coming in and you're going for a punch, and you see there's little like Predator spikes giving you that little bit more support when you're punching the ball. It doesn't really do anything, but it just gives you a bit more confidence in your punching ability, which just isn't there with One Glove. So therefore I'm only going to be giving them a 6, even though the fingers suit me perfectly. The next criteria is closure, so that means how well the glove fits around your wrist and feels like it's not moving. So to give you some comparison for how good I think the closure is on these gloves, I always believe One Glove have very good customer support and they always think of the customer when they're making their products. So you get an extra strap included with the purchase of these Geo 3.0 AM2s. If you want that little bit of extra support, you have a strap which fits around your wrist like that, making it nice and tight, and that's not going anywhere. For an example, another glove brand, Calia, which does their strapless model with the Velcro, did not give you a strap, so you have to provide one yourself to give yourself the extra closure. That's why I'm giving one glove a 9 on this department. So to give you more information on the strap, One Glove goalkeeper Alex McCarthy, who was supposed to wear these gloves but at the weekend wasn't, which I found a bit strange, he doesn't wear a strap on his gloves at all.
Like, obviously you're wearing the strapless gloves now. How does that change from when you came through? And
Yeah, it's obviously when I first came through and that everything was nothing was not strapless, was it?
Another keeper that I know called Muric, the new Ipswich goalkeeper who wears Adidas gloves, has this taped up around his wrist to give him that extra closure. So it just shows it's whatever you prefer and it's not what the product demands.
your gloves are typically, they're very thin, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're very mobile, and
Yeah, so
there's not a lot of build to them.
With the gloves, I don't like them sort of like bulky on the palm and that. I like them quite thin cut because I like to be able to feel the ball. I think with the chunkier ones, you don't sort of get that sort of feeling on the ball. So I like them, to be fair, to be thin as possible, really.
So now we're on to an important category, fit. Now I'm going to talk about sizing for you guys. I feel like this is going to be one of those Marmite type gloves. It's either going to fit you really, really well, or it's not going to fit you at all. For example, my fingers are all pretty different sized, while in the glove they're all very similar. So if you look on the middle finger, my finger is literally at the end of the glove. So if I got a size smaller, I'd be ripping the latex to shreds. But on my little finger, there's way too much room. So you got to work out your sizing. See if you would like it before purchasing these gloves. Also, another thing for me, thumb is a little bit too small as well. I'm right at the end of that. So I don't know what I'd do if I'd get. I don't think I could get a size smaller. So just keep that in mind. Secondly, it is way too wide around the palm. This may just be because of it's got more padding, but I don't know, I just don't like it. So that means I think you'd have to wear the strap to try and reduce the width of this. But overall, for a over £50 priced glove, I think it's pretty poor. So that's why I'm only giving it a 5. Oh, that feels really nice. So now we're on to one of the most important topics, grip. These gloves are really hard to rate, because as you know, One Glove reached out to me and said these are wet weather gloves. So I want to show you the difference between one being dry and one being wet. So I'm going to use an old glove glue bottle to get my left hand really wet. Just spraying water on, no glove glue or anything. There you go, I think that's sufficiently wet to show what it'd be like on a rainy day. Scrub it in a little bit. Alright, let's go do the test. Wet gloves, washed gloves that are drier. And in my opinion, I've always said wet weather gloves are a sham, and the water will just it'll make the performance worse anyway. So let's give these a test. Right, to show it's not fake, bang, holding that with 4 fingers now. I think that just shows that no matter what they advertise, soaking wet gloves are never going to give you the performance of damp gloves. The pure natural grip of these gloves is okay when they're dry or damp, but when they get really wet, they're just the same as an old pair of Adidas Predators or any glove. So, but my other thing is, due to the really hard padding, catching with proper technique is lovely. I don't think I didn't drop many when I was just testing up there, and didn't drop many last night. So I'd like to get a response from One Glove again if that's possible. If they focused on being able to catch instead of pure the grip of the latex. But for me, it is about how natural the latex is, how sticky it is. And obviously I've had all sports in the past where I've literally been able to hold a ball in one hand for almost 3 minutes. Adidas Predators, so I'm gonna have to give it a 6. But One Glove could reach out, explain the technology and how they would like it to work. That'd be perfect. So now on to a very important topic, durability. As you know, I'm just going to give them a 7 at the moment for a placeholder, as I haven't been properly able to test them. In the past, I had a pair of black One Glove Dubravka Midnights, and they lasted forever. I love those. But then I did have another pair of aqua ones in the same colourway as this, and they didn't last anywhere near as long. If you ask me, I think that's because when it gets wet, it picks up mud. The mud destroys the latex, so they won't last as long in those conditions. But it's good. It'll be good to see over a course of the season how these turn out. So, onto one of my favourite categories to go on is confidence. That means if I had a match tomorrow, which ones would I wear? Which ones would I go out and feel like I'd smash it? I really like the foam padding, thick latex on the palm. It really gives you the idea that the glove is there to support you and help you catch. The fit obviously makes me a bit unnervy, but then they do come with the strap. So if it was a little bit soggy tomorrow, a little bit damp, but not really muddy, I think I would go with these. So I'm going to give them a pretty decent confidence score of a 7. Let's go with a 7. So now we're on to arguably the most important category, which is value for money. In my opinion, if you're only buying one glove, one match pair a season, I don't think these are your answer. I think you should go for something cheaper like Calio, where you can get 2 or 3 pairs for the same price as a premium pair of One Gloves. I think in the summer and the really warm weather, the latex is going to dry out and not give you that grip. And then and that's the problem, because if you're only getting one glove a season, the end of the season where it's most important, you're not going to have the performance you want. So they're going to have to be a lot lower than that. I think they're better value for money than the All Sports. That was 76 quid that I rated last year. So I'm going to go in between. I'm going to give them a 6. So, onto my final review. The SAM score, it's got 67 out of 100, which isn't a bad score at all. It's not as high as I've rated the Power Lights. It's better than I rated the All Sport Absolute Grips. I'll share my ideas after I've had them in a proper match and after I've had a proper season in them. So starting off, you get a bag, huge bonus, carry them around when they get wet. They have the Hyla cut fingers, so thin on the fingers, but I think they're a bit oddly shaped. Cyclone latex, it hasn't impressed me that much, but I do like the padding. So overall, I think One Glove have produced a good glove. I don't think it's nailed what they've attempted to do in trying to be the best glove in soaking wet conditions, but they're getting there, and over time I think they are going to improve. And one more thing, if you are buying these gloves, I was listening to what Martin Dubravka said, who is a One Glove goalkeeper. You have to break them in.
No, but Rob told me to do that, that way. Like, literally you need 20 minutes and you can play with them, no problem. So I kind of tricked me. Okay. Because now I think the best way to do it is wash, train with them one day before the match, then wash them, like clean them, and not let them proper dry, like dry, then they are the best.
For the start of the training session yesterday, they weren't great, but as it continued, they got better and better. So I'd wear them before you wore them in a match situation, get them washed, get them dried, and I think they'd be perfect to go in a match and be ready to perform for you. Thank you for watching this Goalkeeper Reviews For You review. Next up, we have a review of the Nike Air Zoom Mercurial Superfly 9 Elites. So subscribe, turn your notifications on, like this video, and get ready for this review coming very soon. Bye bye.